Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's very special edition of X Vlog Live. Normally, a show that I sit down with a community member, a developer sometimes, and we chatted up for 60 or 70 minutes. And I had a whole show completely thrown out the back window because guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We have breaking news, and it's so important to the conversation that we're going to have. I couldn't just do it with Infinite Umpire. I had to bring a crew of level-headed gamers from all around the globe to be here to talk about, well, Sony is increasing the price of the PlayStation 5 in some major regions. I will be breaking down exactly what those regions are, how much it's going to be. And look, like I said in the tweet earlier, I've been gaming since 1978. So yes, I'm old. But there's one thing that I've never seen happen before, and that is a company or a publisher or a console maker have their unit be out almost 2 years on the market, and then because of financial times, go and raise the price of the actual console, making it more expensive. I've never seen anything like that. Honestly, I've just never seen anything like that. Now, I know that some people reached out to me in the DM and said, "Hey, man, Facebook, raised the price of their VR unit." And I would say, well, that's why it's not selling, because no one's going to pay the extra money for. I mean, listen, let's face it. The VR, their second version, I own it. I have it. It's good. It's not spectacular. I think that the PlayStation VR 2.0 is going to beat it leaps and bounds. That's probably going to be $500 when that releases early next year, which of course is rumored. But Nintendo didn't raise the price of the Switch. Xbox has not raised the price of the Series X or the S. As a matter of fact, there are many people, including myself, that believe the Series S could drop down to as low as $199 this fall for Black Friday. And, listen, right now, when we've seen deals, you could pick up a Series S for under $260 when it's normally $299. So it is a bit perplexing why Sony decided to announce this price hike. Again, we're going to break it down, but let's introduce the guests, and we're going to start first with Infinite Umber, who originally was tapped to be here with for the normal one-on-one. Umbra, how the heck are you, man? I mean, welcome back. I know you were here Tuesday. We chatted it up with the guys from the Xbox Factor podcast, and you're back, and we're back with big news, man. This is a bit of a head scratcher.
Yeah, it's not even a head scratcher for me, though. By the way, good afternoon to you, Boom, and everybody here, and to the chat. It's not even a head scratcher to me because this is like part and parcel of Sony. It's what they do. I'm used to this. I think all of us are. We're used to them trying to get over on their customers, and their customers inadvertently or ultimately defending it, no matter what.
Yeah, and that's exactly what has been happening this morning. If you're following the socials, just check out what some of the I don't know. I don't want to insult anybody. Let's just call them this PlayStation diehards, the ones that can't be told that Sony can't do anything wrong. Because you see, the one thing that I do want to stress is when you see what happened today. I immediately equate that to when Microsoft tried to double the price of Xbox Live Gold, right? They tried to, and what happened? Everyone that was anyone, PlayStation gamers, Nintendo gamers, specifically Xbox gamers, we all came out in a big cry and said, this can't happen, this is wrong. And they course corrected. Now, I don't think Sony's going to course correct on this one. I just don't. But let's continue with the introductions. Crazy Lou Gaming, what's going on, brother? From the Xbox International podcast. What's going on? How you feeling?
Oh man, I'm feeling good. Trying to keep a smile on the price increase. Saying good morning to everybody. Keeping that smile, just not showing the anger I have inside. Just trying to be happy. It's insane about this price increase. Crazy stuff. I mean, like you said, been a gamer since Nintendo, and all of a sudden, first time in history on gaming, I see a price increase after 2 years, especially when your competitors are lower than you. That is insane. I mean, I'm still
and we're actually gonna break that down as to how this could severely hurt their sales and why the pressure of the ABK deal, which is expected to go through potentially as early as late October, early November, is really going to put the squeeze to Sony on their plans. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I find it hard to believe that they. I mean, remember, folks, this is the same company that told you they were raising the price of their games to $70. And they were one of the first to do so. Now they're raising the price of the PlayStation 5 again. It's just crazy. But Fuzzy Belvedere, how you feeling, man? Welcome back. You were here on Monday for the impromptu Xbox Factor podcast to talk about the breaking news there, and we got more breaking news. This has been one heck of a week.
Oh yeah, thank you for having me here, and it's so good to be here with you guys, man. Stacked panel here today, and yeah, Sony just providing us some awesome news. I guess if you already have your PlayStation and you're in one of those countries where there's a price hike, but if you don't already have it,
yeah. And well, listen, it's great to have you here, Fuzzy, and of course, representing PlayStation Nation, one of the best places to get honest PlayStation news, reviews, and opinions. BitCloud Gaming, what's going on, brother? How you feeling?
I'm doing good, man. What's going on? It's been a minute.
Yeah, it has been a minute, and obviously, you've been doing doing some good work over there with IGN. So we're happy that you're making some headway over there, and obviously you've been making doing what you normally do with some monster interviews. We're glad to have you a part of today's program. But listen, folks, let's break down the news of the day. The news of the day, quite simply, is this. It was posted by Nibble. It was also posted by Wario64, many people in the community. This letter that I'm going to read, this press release, comes directly from President and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment, Jim Ryan. And this is what he had to say in this press briefing. The global economic environment is a challenge that many of you around the world are no doubt experiencing. We're seeing high global inflation rates as well as adverse currency trends impacting consumers and creating pressure on many industries. Based on these challenging economic conditions, SIE has made the difficult decision to increase the recommended retail price, the RRP as it's called, of the PlayStation 5 in select markets across Europe, Middle East, and Africa, EMEA, Asia Pacific, APAC, and Latin America, as well as Canada. There will be no price increase in the United States. So, ladies and gentlemen, these are the regions that are getting the price increase, and I'm going to break down exactly what they are. In Europe, the PlayStation Ultra HD Blu-ray disc drive is going up to £549.99. The digital one is going up to $449.99. Each of these regions are being hit with a $50 price increase. It's being increased in Europe, UK, Japan, China, Australia, Mexico, and Canada. And check this out, folks.
And Latin America, I think, too.
And Latin America as well. The Canadian price of the PlayStation 5 Fat, if they call it, the one with the disc drive, is $649.99 for Canada money. And you hear Mag, who talks about this all the time, that he's paying for games, Sony games, over $100 in Canadian money. Look, this is a PR nightmare. We're not going to jump on the rabbit, so to speak. This isn't a console war podcast. We're not going to start throwing punches at Sony. But folks, come on, let's be fair here, okay? For the last couple of months, and I'll laugh at myself, right? I've made fun of myself. Like, I always come out and say, hey, could you believe the cream cheese is $7? Right? And I get clowned on that. And you know what? It's funny because we're on a video game podcast. What the hell are you talking about cream cheese, Boom? But I say that because the sad reality is last year, a dozen jumbo eggs was $2.39. Now today it's $4.
Wow.
Now, when you compound a food shopping for a family of 2, 3, or 4, you're paying double the amount. Now, I was challenged by somebody in the community, which of course I will not name because we don't do that here, regarding you know what, why am I going to even guess? Let me just pull this up. I'm going to read you my original tweet when I saw this. And again, this is not made for us to be fanboys or fangirls. This is simply me responding to what I thought is probably one of the worst moves Sony has made in this generation, besides the price increase of games. And I simply wrote this. You know, I've been gaming since 1978, and that's a long time. And in my gaming career, I've seen a lot, though I have to admit, nothing like this. PlayStation increasing the prices during a time when families are struggling to put food on the table is extremely out of touch. Hashtag just saying. And I'm not going to say who I responded to, but I'm going to simply read what they wrote. And it says, boom, wouldn't you imagine that families who are struggling to put food on the table aren't necessarily purchasing consoles to begin with and aren't the addressable market anyway? Now, I'm going to say this, ladies and gentlemen, that is as small-minded and closed-minded as you could possibly be, because just because you're trying to make ends meet doesn't mean you don't like video games. That's stupid. So my response was hashtag just stop. How could you be okay with this? I understand fandom, but holy cow, your statement is way off the mark. By the way, just because people are struggling to put food on the table, quote unquote, doesn't mean they don't like video games. Talk about tone deaf. And I want to read a quote from a very good friend of this community, another PlayStation channel that you should, if you like PlayStation, you should have it on your playlist for sure. Let me just get to my my profile and bring it up for you. And of course, I'm talking about Mr. Badbit, Joe. And obviously, Joe has been a part of this channel on many podcasts. I was hoping that we can get Joe here today. Unfortunately, I think he's working. But this is what Joe had to say. Now, he is one half of the excellent team at the Trophy Room, a PlayStation podcast. If you're not subscribed to them, you should be, because they give it to you from a gamer's perspective. They don't really get onto the whole fanboy shenanigans. This is why I love Joe. And this is what Joe had to say. He says, Sony said that the PlayStation 5 was profitable during an investor's call, which they did.
Mm-hmm.
Raising the price of the PlayStation 5 is for the sole purpose of maintaining that profit. So let's call it what it is. Greed in all capitals. Please reverse this PlayStation. Now, I'm going to go first to BitCloud. BitCloud, look, again, we're not attacking Sony. We're simply having a conversation, but this is tone deaf. This doesn't make any sense. And you had actually said something that was pretty interesting that I'll reiterate. And if you want to obviously add to it, you said it. So I'd like you to talk about it. Sony wouldn't increase their price in the US because right now they're losing. Like they're losing to Xbox right now. And that's a fact, because obviously we know for the last 3 quarters, Xbox has outdone PlayStation. They have not outdone Nintendo. No one outdoes Nintendo because they are who they are.
Nintendo can charge you $900 and not get backlash from the Nintendo community.
Pretty much. But no, honestly, how look, you like myself, we talk about optics, right? Yeah. We look at the big picture of things. And Sony hasn't really done a lot of things this year to better their image, so to speak, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, one of the big criticisms from Sony fans, as well as Xbox fans and Nintendo fans, is when Sony said, hey, listen, our games are going to $70, right? That was one of the big things that people didn't dig. But, again, a lot of us just accepted it as just the gospel, because obviously we saw EA do it. We've seen 2K do it. We've seen, Activision do it. So we thought that it was going to be the standard, whereas for Xbox, it's not. Their games are still $60 and they have Game Pass. One of the other things that didn't go good for Sony was the fact that they have really dug their heels in the sand, and they said that they weren't putting day and date into their new service. And that obviously, that was a conversation. And now this bit, this is something that I think is tone deaf. I think that they're not reading the room correctly. And even what Jim Ryan had to say, he acknowledges that people are having financial struggles to get things done, but you're still increasing it by $50. It makes no sense, Bit.
Oh, it makes sense. A lot of people just don't
Well, it
see
makes
it.
dollars and cents for Sony, not just for the peoples.
No. You're missing the big point. You see it all day on Twitter. What do people do on Twitter in the PlayStation community? A good chunk of them. The vocal ones. What do?
Make defense for Sony.
Well, not just that though. They preach this on Twitter Spaces, YouTube videos, podcasts every single day, right? Oh, PlayStation's quality, right? We're paying for quality games. Game Pass is fodder. You guys are cheap. You want to support gaming, right? They want to support gaming. This conversation,
welfare.
I got no problem. I got no problem paying $70 for a controller. That might have a drifting issue. I got no problem paying $70 for games that might last for 5 hours. Or I might beat one time and be done and move on to a third-party game and put more money, put more time into. You see what I'm saying? These are the people that they listen to. They listen to these people, the vocal ones. You know why they listen to the vocal ones? Because these dudes always make a stone cold case for them and try to convince others, hey, listen, that's what it's about. You want to support gaming? Gaming is expensive. Okay, well, guess what? They just hit you with the harsh reality. It's more. It can be much more expensive than you think of. And now you got to look at the situation now. What are you getting for this? First of all, everybody around the world. Why is everybody else around the world affected except for the U.S.? And you know what's even more funny about this? You got dudes mostly in the U.S. making the case for it, say like, "Oh, it's inflation." You're only saying that because you don't have the price increase in the U.S. That's the only reason you're saying it, because it's not affecting you. If it affected you, you'd be on the same bandwagon as everybody else. So let's not sit here and make this seem like, oh, this is a hit mob or this is some kind of slander parade. It's not. It's greed at its finest. Joe said it perfect. It is greed at its finest. When Sony is already reporting record profits through subscription services, the console is profit. Games are making their money back in record time. Hell, if we want to count the MCU with Marvel and Spider-Man by itself is about to make you even 5 times more in 2023.
Yeah.
You are doing fine. And when you have Wolverine on the horizon, are we really sitting here acting like Sony is in any shape of the way can't take a hit on this console? When you have multiple avenues to make this money back through subscription services and game sales?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? It makes no sense to me. But dude's like, oh, it's fine. It's fine. Because, let's compare this, a luxury, a console, to necessities. See, a lot of people are acting like we need gaming consoles or PCs or laptops or whatever to go on with our everyday lives, when the reality is we don't. There are people who go through their lives that are not even tech savvy as we speak.
It's true.
And all they do is live off of, obviously, what they need to live off of. The necessities. You need your food. You need your water. You need your electricity. You need a roof over your head. You see what I'm saying? You need these things. You don't need a game console. So what exactly are we acting like, oh, this doesn't affect us, or this is not a bad look, or no, it's a bad look. Yeah. Everybody knows this is a bad look. It doesn't translate well with the consumer. And at the end of the day, when you already have been very vocal about hitting, big strides and hitting record profits, now you come across the greediest one in the room. And that right there is not looking good for anybody.
Yeah, it really doesn't, Bit, because here's the thing. I think that Joe really did knock it out of the park with that tweet. As simplistic as it was in its nature, it was in fact a very damning statement for a multitude of reasons, because they did just report their quarterly financials, and they did say that they were making a profit on the PlayStation 5. So to do this, right? This comes, and why it's bad timing. It's a couple of reasons why it's bad timing. It's bad timing, ladies and gentlemen, because they are currently losing ground. But they're still the market leader. Let's not get that twisted. They are currently the market leader for a reason, right? When you talk about PlayStation, it's one of the most recognizable brands in the world, PlayStation. So they're not going to just fall out and no one's going to see them again. But you gotta wonder what is actually going on. Is this the arrogant Sony that just is this hey, if you want a PlayStation 3, get a second job? You know what I'm saying? Is it that Sony?
You gotta think about this. Is it really arrogance, or is it just, you know what? Okay. Remember, what did I say? What did I say on this last time I was on? I said there's a sucker born every man. We're gonna take it for everything they got, type of thing, right?
Yeah.
When you got dudes who have this mob mentality, where it's like anybody who voices a slight bit of criticism towards something as simple as a price, and these dudes come out here, they turn into Power Rangers basically. They morph for that, and they go, listen, I'm all for prices being $70. I support gaming. You're broke, right? When you got people like this, and you got dudes listening to this, and you got dudes just flocking to this type of stuff, you don't expect someone to look at this, go, you know what? Okay, I guess we do gotta. We do
have some drones. Absolutely.
We don't care about $70 games. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at, listen, after this announcement, I'm looking at a lot of things differently. I'm looking at that new PS5 Edge controller. I don't think that's 150.
No, I think that's
I don't think
250.
I don't think PlayStation VR 2 is 400.
Oh,
No,
500.
You see what I'm saying? I'm not looking at this stuff cheap anymore. I'm looking at it much more as we go forward.
I always did.
And the sad part is people probably gonna be like, oh, it doesn't affect me. They say this until the announcement's made. Then they look stupid. Then they want to cry wolf. Like, how could this have happened? It's very simple, because you allowed it to happen.
You know what's crazy though, Big Cloud? They're not even going to do that. See, now that they've dug down their positions, they're going to have to defend it now. So when it happens, they'll be like, well, hey, gaming is a luxury. Not is a business, it's a luxury, it's not a charity. They're going to make excuses for why this makes sense for them to have to pay that.
Yep.
And I'll say this too. Yeah, I get you what you said with these guys on there, and I forgot who said it, but as old Jimothy Ryan, Jimothy Ryan definitely saw those replies.
I got no issue with Jim. Jim good.
No,
Jim's giving me the best games I could possibly ask for. And Jim's the best thing. But guess what?
Those on Twitter said, "Hey, listen." Those on Twitter said he has to afford to get his new yacht and such. Okay, cool. But
the thing getting that yacht. He's going to get bonus
several.
On top of that.
No doubt about it.
He getting everything. And dudes sitting there act like, oh, I want to give my money to the consumer or to the publisher and whatnot and all this. But it's like,
because of greatness.
You can give all your money there. You can fall for the tagline. I love the tagline, greatness awaits. But let's keep it a buck. What are we really getting out of this in the long run?
Man,
most of these games. Most of the games.
Check this out though. So this is the one thing I want to say. You asked, was it arrogance? Yes, it's arrogance. Now I say that to say, yeah, you're right about those types that you're talking about on Twitter, but those are, as we know, the vocal minority. It seems like it's so numerous, right? It is a lot of them on Twitter. Don't get me wrong, but they are the vocal minority. Those that are really affected overseas and stuff, they're not online like that doing that. Not to say that some of them might not be, but the majority, the casual types, they're not over there doing that on Twitter and things like that. So it's definitely greed because they know they can get away with it because, again, they offer greatness, right? So many people can make some examples out of, oh, well, look at this quality game. So yes, we can charge you out the wazoo. That's the thing. So they know they can get away with it. They know they've built a strong enough brand that they're number one as far as them being the marketplace leader and such. They can do these things and get away with it. This is why they do it. They didn't pull it here because, for one, I think they would have had a bigger drawback than what they're already getting. And they're getting hit, by the way. A lot of people are complaining about this. But also, it would have affected them negatively because of Microsoft obviously challenging them here in North America. Also, too, they wanted to raise the prices overseas because their dollar is weaker than ours. So it's just them getting more profits at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. In the famous words of Everborn Saga, charge
them more.
You got a t-shirt out there. You want to go buy it. Charge them more. And
charge them more
and
get us less.
We were talking this morning. We were all laughing about that. He said you're going to have gamers coming after you because now they literally are charging more.
Listen. I said this with Kay Asante on his podcast when we were talking about this with The Last of Us. I think Lou was there. Were you there, Lou, when I brought that up on his podcast? But basically, when we got the announcement of the remake and they showed it off and they revealed it and what we're getting from the game, and basically what you're getting for the game is significantly less content but prettier visuals.
Yeah,
And
the
users are like, okay,
the-
we're paying more for less. This is the
the-
standard that people have set and put us down. And this is the road people have put us down
Yep.
going forward. They can charge you more, and dudes will lick the boots and be like, I'm fine. I got no problem paying $70 as long as the game looks next gen.
Yep. What do I call it? The remaster, remake, remaster. That's what I think. That's what I call it. The remaster, something like that. It's just something weird.
I call this the remaster that should have happened. The last one was a remaster.
Yeah.
No.
That was just, that was.
And that's way better. The remaster should have. That's way better than mine. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I will say this. What's a little disturbing about the Last of Us remake? I understand the visuals look better, and they do. They look a lot better. There's no denying that they did do some big work to that. But the problem is that it's literally a 1-to-1 copy. You know what I'm saying? Like like with film, right? If you didn't know this, films come out and a director will make a 3-hour film. Like for instance, what the hell's his name? Something Reed that made Batman. That was a 4-hour film. Right?
Yep.
That was originally Peyton Reed was originally a 4-hour film. They had to cut it down, so they cut it down to like 3 hours. Right now, if they come out at some point and drop, a different edition that has this additional hour of footage that was not there in the theatrical and the digital release, you might be more inclined to buy it because you're like, well, wait a second, I'm gonna get a chance to see an hour worth of footage that was cut out. That's what when they said they were remaking The Last of Us, that's what I expected. And if we would have gotten different takes or different areas or different missions that we've never played that were cut on the design floor, which happens more often than not, then someone might be more inclined to be like, well, listen, you know what? I'm going to play something that I haven't played, but I'm also going to get what I loved about the original. So the $70 price for that is again, it's more, I guess, paint on Sony's face, and this doesn't help. This does not help their situation. And I bring up their streaming service. They have dug their heels in the ground where they're not doing day and date. We know that they've already come out and said it. Now people saying, can they afford it? They're not. They won't turn a profit. This, that, and the third. I'm sure there's an argument to be had on both sides of the conversation, but this, in my opinion, is egregious, regardless of how you look at it. I don't care if you're a diehard Sony fan or you kind of just like the brand like myself for first party stuff. But I want to bring Umbra into the conversation. But before I do, Danny Passion Official drops a very generous $5 super chat, and he says this: I'm with Sony on this one. I expect Microsoft to do the same soon. If not, it's better for us gamers. We all know economics is pretty bad, Boom. And you know I'm an Xbox first guy. Yeah, but Microsoft is going to look at the room. They're going to see what's going on here, and they're going to wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. Even if they had thought to raise the price, which makes no sense because gaming prices for consoles go down. They have never gone up. This is. I put it to this way. Sony needs to readjust this. I don't know if they're going to, but they're going to have to course correct because this, and again, folks, optics. Let's talk about optics. This comes on the heels of the £5 billion lawsuit that was announced by the UK for them raking over the coal their players since 2016. Think about that for just a hot second. Umbra, is this more bad news for Sony? And can this something like this really damage the brand? Or are people just gonna be like, F it, let me just pay the $50 because they're Sony?
I mean, it's bad news, no question, right? At least for those who have common sense still. Like I said, it's those who are brainwashed, they're going to defend it no matter what. And this is a difference than the problem I have with that, because when you say this on Twitter or on social media in general, you have those types, the drones, who will come out and, oh, this is fine. Well, gaming is a luxury. You broke. You can't play games. That's on you, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I've seen a few, silly damage control tweets, and I'm going to read two of them just to give you an idea. So everything, and I mean everything, has gone up in price due to inflation. But the minute PS5 consoles do, there's outrage. Most of y'all don't even live in said countries with the increase. Y'all just want to have fake outrage. Why aren't y'all holding spaces about rent going up? That's one. And look and check this one out.
Very out of touch.
Oh yeah, always that person in particular. And this one is another one. It's just like, okay. It says we don't accept broke boys into the PlayStation community. If you want, yeah, they don't. Yeah, broke boys have no place there.
Well, then I guess the for the payers mean does range.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If you all broke in that chat, don't touch your PlayStation. Don't you even think about it. You hear me?
Wow.
What I say, boom, boom. Repeat what I say. There's a sucker born every second. Take it for everything they got.
He says if you want cheap,
boom, say it
food,
with me. Don't nod your head. You say it with me. The sucker born every minute.
There's a sucker born every minute.
So there you go. This is the copium corner. I want you to hear this. He says, so if you want cheap fast food, you can check out Xbox Welfare Pass.
Okay. All right. I'm dipping out. I gotta record this video. I appreciate it.
If you want to play on PlayStation, you gotta pay. Simple. Gaming is a privilege. Get checked. This is the type of stuff you have to deal with.
You gotta send me that, Umber. You gotta send me.
I'll send it to you. This is the type of stuff you have to deal with with people online. They will make defenses for Sony no matter what. If they came and sold their mothers to PlayStation and sold their mothers out there where you can purchase their parents or something like that, they'll be defending it. These people are a little far gone. And I say that to say I've seen people actually wishing and hoping that Microsoft is also going to raise their prices. Have you all seen those tweets? Well, Microsoft is going to probably do it too. You have to wish for Xbox to raise their prices to give you some type of justification to defend this. That's how silly things have become. And I had a post, or it was a tweet rather, that a good friend, buddy Tim Dog, had posted. He said, well, hey, Microsoft could possibly do this too. And I jumped on there immediately and said, well, they could, right? But I don't think Microsoft is that foolish. And I say that to say they don't have the luxury. Now, that's not to say that Xbox doesn't have its share of fanboys who would go to the lengths of certain lengths, right? But even our fanboys aren't that bad. They don't go to the lengths of saying of arguing for higher prices.
Even the biggest stout defenders of Xbox, when they tried to double the price of Xbox Live Gold from 60 to 120 bucks, everyone, and I mean everyone, came out and was like, yo, this is crazy. You can't
jump on their necks immediately. And what did they do, Boom?
They 24 hours later,
not even 24 hours,
corrected.
Yes. 8 hours.
8 hours. Well,
8 hours, and they reverted right back and apologized. And that's the difference. And that's what I said. Microsoft, I don't think they're foolish enough to do it. And they would be foolish to do that after Sony's getting terrible PR. Like, oh, let's join them. Even though we're in third place and already being lambasted by all these different sites, even when we're doing right. So why would they join them in the foolishness, right? They can afford, obviously, to take a bit of a loss on the back end for now. Sony might not be able to, but Microsoft can. I know that can only go for so long, but they keep steady with the plan they have going, especially with the thought that it's a value type of gaming with the S and everything like that, and getting all these games with Game Pass. Microsoft is absolutely going in the right direction. I don't think it would behoove them to go and try to copy Sony here. That would be the foolish thing to do, especially in this way. You don't want to copy them in getting licensed games and third person over the shooter game types action adventures, but let's copy them in bad consumer practices. Yeah, let's do that. I don't think Microsoft would do that. So my thinking is, they could do that, but we would be on their necks so quick.
We absolutely would be. Yeah.
That it would be reverted right back within that 24-hour span. And we all know that. That's the difference between us and I think PlayStation gamers largely, even our more, crazy fanboys. They don't defend that type of stuff. So that's the difference. And I think we have to get past this whole corporate, I don't want to say slave, but just this corporate mindset of what we have to defend these practices just because we prefer that platform. Is silly at the end of the day.
Yeah, you know what? I want to shout out our good friends over at @Xbox News. Now, if you're not following them, you should, because they are a fantastic group of guys and gals over there that do Xbox News on a daily basis for Twitter. And like I said, that's @Xbox News. They are fantastic. Well, when this news broke, they put out a post, which they normally do. And listen, I'm going to read it verbatim. And it says this: Xbox Series X and S and Xbox Game Pass are the best value in gaming, hands down. Xbox is for the players, and they say PlayStation is for the payers. Right now, right now the Xbox Series X in Europe is 450 pounds. Sony has raised theirs now to 480 pounds. The Series S is 250 pounds versus the now PlayStation new price of 390 pounds. Games there were 55 pounds versus Sony's $70 pounds. And this is where it gets it really starts to open up your eyes. Game Pass, day one releases, PlayStation Plus, no day one releases. Game Pass Ultimate, 11 pounds. PlayStation Plus Premium, 1350 pounds. And here's where it really does, like no one talks about this until it's in the list, but it does make you go, Next gen upgrade for Xbox, free. PlayStation next gen upgrades for all Sony games, $10. Cloud saves on Xbox, free. Nope, not cloud saves are paid. You have to have the subscription to have the cloud saves on Sony. It's a magnificent tweet. I want to go to Crazy Lou on this. Crazy Lou.
Hey,
look,
I'm gonna dip out for this one. I had made this video, but appreciate y'all.
Oh yeah, listen, take a good bit. Go bang out a good video, brother. I'll definitely promote it.
All right, brother. Have a good one.
We'll see you around, bit.
Don't let those fanatics get to you now.
Yeah.
All right, Big Boy. We'll see you later, brother. Thanks. Okay, so listen, Crazy Lou. Let's talk about this. And again, let's talk optics. I do want to paint the picture for the people. And if you're a Sony fan and you're coming into the chat, I want to say welcome, because everyone is welcome in this home, right? I don't care whether you're Sony, your PC, your Game Boy. It doesn't matter. Everyone is welcome here. And if you want to have an opinion, by all means, put it in the chat. This is one of the best chats in the business, no doubt about it. But Lou, coming off the heels of $70 games and a streaming service that is $3 more than their competitors, that offer old games, which they said that no one plays, does not offer day and date games, is now asking their fan base, potentially their fan base, which I'm assuming is going to be new people buying the PlayStation 5, to add an additional $50 to that conversation. And we don't know. I mean, listen, the world is expensive, and I totally get it. But I have never, ever seen the consumer have to shoulder the fact that they're not making enough profits, because we know they're making profits. So I've never seen a gaming company say, well, we're making profits, but it's not enough. So we're going to take that and put that on the shoulder of the consumer. Hey, folks, the console has been out for 2 years. We're going to raise the price. I have never seen anything quite like it. I don't understand how they thought that the PR for this wasn't going to be a nightmare. What are your thoughts on this, dude?
Oh, man. First things first, I think they just couldn't find a way to make the heatsink smaller. No, I'm just kidding. Just messing around a bit with that. But yeah, my thoughts on this, man. I mean, it's terrible. It's a terrible idea that that they're increasing the price, especially when you got a competitor out there that's giving you a service that is literally kicking your butt. I mean, it's no joke. They're having a Game Pass effect right now. And it's been showing each and every single time. I mean, look, the other day in Brazil, they made a comment, which after they made that comment, I said, oh, man, they shouldn't have said that there. I said, they shouldn't have said that there. And they said it. And each and every single week, stuff just starts going by and by and by. I mean, we read the other day an article where Microsoft said, hey, you grab third-party developers not to put content on there and all this stuff. And now all of a sudden, how much? $550 million loss or something like that. And now an increase on price each and every single week, just bad news. Especially, I'm like, Sony, what are you guys doing? Seriously, you're making people frustrated. And people frustrated in a way, like for example, the guys who have common sense, like what Umber was saying, or like, damn, that's 50 more bucks. I mean, but Xbox is at 500 still. What am I gonna go? I'm gonna go for Xbox all the way. And seriously, not only that, you got Game Pass over there that keeps on bringing games each and every single month, new games, new titles, because 2023 is they're gonna swipe it all out. I mean, we got games coming in like crazy. And damn, 50 more bucks for you to make profit. You're gonna sacrifice the users for you to make profit, and you already in last year's earnings showed that you have actually made profit. Why seriously, why charge an extra 50? But then I see the fan base out there saying, which I read something, I was like, okay, now I totally understand. They said, hey, we usually buy them from bots for $1,000. So yeah, they can make a price increase. I'm like, oh, that's a good analysis. Pretty good analysis you're making. I mean, I would literally grab my pitchforks and go out there and say, hey, let me complain about this because damn, 50 bucks more. That's a lot of money. That's without tax, right? Or is it with tax?
No, that is without tax, sir.
Oh dear Lord. So we're talking like probably like 30 more bucks more. That's insane. And nobody's complaining. They're actually defending it. I mean, I would go out there and complain and say, hey man, you guys are just being ruthless and charging us 50 more bucks, especially since you made already profit and you're already charging us $10 more for games. We've accepted it. I mean, I got my PS5 back here, and yeah, I'd buy your $70 games. I have no problems with that. I totally understand. 10 more bucks, that's cool with me. I mean, I accepted it. But now if I want to get another PS5, I gotta pay 50 more bucks. That's just insane. Literally, I don't know what the heck is going over there, but that's just bad. That's just bad for business, especially if your competitor is still maintaining the price. But like I said again, here's a scenario, and I've been saying it. What happens if Xbox goes and says, "Hey, I'm gonna do a drop price on the Series S and drops it to 250 and keep it right there"? That's it for them. They're doomed.
Well, I got news for you. We're going to talk about how Microsoft responds to this, because there is something to be said that you almost see them coming out and making. I mean, like it would be unbelievably damaging to Sony's brand, especially in some of these countries where they have done great work. Outdueling Xbox sometimes, like in some places where Jim Ryan was when he was in charge of the European part of SIE. It was 5-1. They were selling 5 PlayStation 4s to 1 Xbox. I mean, he did a really incredible job over there through their marketing, which seems to have taken a vacation or something. I honestly don't know, but look. Like I said, we're going to come back around to what Microsoft does now with this information. We're going to ask the question: does Sony pivot? Does Sony break from the? Do they put out a press release in 8 hours and say, you know what, we heard the cries, we're not going to raise it? I don't know. We will ask that question, Lou. But Lou, before let me just catch up some of the super chats. I didn't realize I had so many of them here. Danny Passion Official drops an additional $2 super chat and says, "I'm saying this CS because I'm a businessman." I mean, listen, it's your opinion, brother. There's nothing wrong with that, Danny. We definitely appreciate you being here, and of course your generosity. Viper XT drops a very generous $5 super chat, and he says this: Sony said, "You all really love paying us more for the same thing. We heard you loud and clear. Hashtag charge them more." I mean, everyone is gonna make millions off it. He should definitely what do you call it? Lock down that hashtag.
He has to.
Absolutely. Joseph Alavella drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, "PlayStation 5 Pro coming with a credit card swiper." King David's actually been saying that for years. It's crazy. Thank you for being here, Jose. Definitely appreciate the generosity. Jacob Novick drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, "I'm impressed that Xbox's Pentiment is $19 only." I mean, it's a small game. I mean, obviously it's going to be in Game Pass, but if you definitely want to buy the game, yeah, it is only under $20, which is great, which is awesome. Eagles fan 76, good friend of the program, drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "The difference with Xbox is that not the physical box. Their platform is Game Pass. As long as that keeps increasing, it should cover for them." And that's absolutely very true. Like I said, I look, there is a lot to be said about this ABK deal, and I've said this before, and we'll say it again. I originally thought that the relevance or the importance of Call of Duty wasn't at the top of the conversation because of so much that was coming with this deal. You know, a Blizzard being who they are, the IPs they have, King in the mobile. But I am telling you, I have recently sat back and really put thought to it. When Call of Duty is first party, and in a year that Sony doesn't have the marketing rights anymore, I don't know how you're gonna ask the PlayStation player to pay $76.43 for the game that is over on that guy's side being played for by multiple people in a family for as low as $5. Like, I don't understand how they're going to do that. You know, the monies that they're going to lose, the fan base that they're going to lose because of this, because of their greed, we don't know what damage this is going to do, but I think it's going to hurt Sony in a big way. Fuzzy, before I get to your brother, I got to thank Mr. Joanna Dark, good friend of the program, great friend of the community. He drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, "Hello, gentlemen. Do you think Sony, in Sony's mind, they have reached Apple status that they believe they can charge their fan base any price?" That is a great question. And you know what? I'll pose that to Fuzzy. Fuzzy, first of all, let's talk about the price increase, the optics of how bad this looks for Sony. And Mr. Joanna Dark's question, has the arrogant Sony returned?
I posted this morning earlier. It's giving me kind of like that PS3 vibes. I don't know if you remember
I retweeted that. I saw that. Yes.
I don't know if many in the chat may remember where they kind of hinted that, you should feel like you earn this PS3, or they want you to feel some sort of sense of earning, kind of like what they did with the whole, Gran Turismo 7 deal. But, have it where, people will get a second job or work longer hours to, be able to afford it. So it's like, this is the same Sony that I remember from the PS3 era. And yes, I was one of those day one buyers.
Me too.
Although
$600. Yeah.
Yeah. It's still, it boggles my mind. Like, for the simple fact that this console is now at the 2-year mark. And yes, I understand price of things go up. But let me ask you this. How many people bought flat screens in 2000 to 2005? Like a 20-inch was like $2,000. Are you paying that for a 20-inch today?
No.
I don't think so. So typically technology keeps on going down in price, especially if it's a rehash of the same thing. If you look at a phone, sure, it might be $1,000 for you to buy it this year, but that same phone, same internals, a year or 2 years later is half, if not even lower. And that's without even having to, sign a contract or get a plan. If you do the contract, a lot of times that $1,000 phone is free now. But
yeah,
hey, people want to say, "Oh, inflation, the cost of living for luxury items." Yeah, I guess they don't know what electronics are and looked at the prices of the stuff that they've had. Like, did video cards for PCs go up? No, they're actually going down. Hey, because Bitcoin miners and all that have realized that this isn't the way to do it anymore, fortunately. So now video cards can go back to being things for gaming. But all things aside, it just, Sony is not reading the room right. Although they at least have enough sense not to do it in the US, because I think they know, not necessarily, I don't think they even care what we say or the backlash from fans or whatnot. All they care about is numbers. And let's just be honest, we're just numbers to them. So if we're not buying their console, that's when they'll make some sort of change. So for those that haven't bought a console yet in those areas where the price is going up, my apologies. I don't know why I'm apologizing, but I feel sorry for you. It sucks. But hey, guess what? At least at the current moment, there are other consoles that can play a lot of the same third-party games for less money. So have at that. But
well, I mean, there's something to be said. Look, I have constantly and consistently talked up Sony's first-party games. I do that because I really do like them.
Oh, yeah.
I don't platinum every one of them, but some of my more favorite ones, I did. I platinum Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I'm one trophy away from platinum Miles Morales.
Mm-hmm.
I got most of the trophies in Horizon Zero Dawn, the first one.
Mm-hmm.
I like their single player experiences. There is something to be said about what's considered to be a quote unquote Sony player.
Yeah.
A Sony player is, for the most part, usually based on just numbers, a casual gamer that plays Call of Duty, that plays Apex Legends,
Mm-hmm.
that plays a lot of these free to play games. And yes, they will buy a Spider-Man. Yes, they will hear their friends talking about The Last of Us and go out and buy it, or Horizon, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they don't buy every first party game. The diehards are the ones that buy all the first party. I buy all the first party games for crying out loud, right? So there is something to be said that this price increase is potentially going to move people, the casual audience that dominated the PlayStation 4 sales, to the Xbox. And now I want to move into the conversation as we have an amazing panel still here. And we have over 510 people in the chat. That is bonkers awesome. Thank you so much. If you're finding the channel for the first time, I want to say welcome. I hope that you are enjoying the banter, that you understand that this isn't like a fanboy flame channel where we're just dumping on Sony because they did something stupid. No, we're having a grown-up conversation about why this needs to be changed and why they can't be allowed to get away with this. The question I want to raise to the panel now and to the chat, over 500 people here, is what does Xbox do with this news? Because if I'm the marketing team and I'm seeing this, I'm making a big call. I'm like, look, we got to respond to this. We got to put a statement out there that welcoming. Hey, listen, if gaming is getting too expensive for you, we have something called Game Pass. We have the family plan. We have a $250 or a $200 digital box that allows you to play these games upwards of 1440p. I mean, I would definitely make a move. Umbra, let's get your opinion on this, bro. This is, situations like this where you see a company, a big conglomerate company, literally cut their own head off, because that's what Sony has done. They have literally cut their own head off with this price increase, and that press release seems so out of touch. Like like just reading it from Jim Ryan's mouth, it just seems like, wow, like, dude, you acknowledge that there is a lot of shortcomings financially for families, but you still are going to raise the price of your gaming console? Like, whoa, it doesn't, again, out of touch, tone deaf, whatever acronym you want to use. What does Microsoft do with this?
It's interesting because I saw more than a few tweets, and I saw one in particular that I shared, and I thought, yeah, that's exactly what they need to do. Microsoft does not need to follow Sony here as far as pricing. They need to stay.
Of course not.
If anything, they need to lower theirs in the fall, right? I guess the S, if it goes down just by $25 to $50.
Could you imagine, Umbra, if they dropped the Series X to $450?
Oh wow!
Yes, I said that earlier too.
It would be crazy.
Can you imagine that happens?
They have the value proposition right now. They still have the value proposition. Even right now, the inferior console. I'm not trying to throw salt at PlayStation.
No. You know what? Can I read something for you? Because
sure.
Tutti Frutti Gaming put out something, and again, some people would maybe get a little bit defended over this. But when you look at the PlayStation 5 versus the Xbox Series X, 10 teraflops versus 12. 800 SSD, which is 667 gigs usable on the PlayStation 5 without upgrading it to the 1 terabyte SSD, quick resume, smart delivery, xCloud, FPS boost, auto HDR, Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos, free cloud saves, and they have this whole list. And they have a whole list on the left that has red X's for what Sony's PlayStation 5 has versus the value proposition of $499 versus $549. Could you imagine if Microsoft makes a conscious decision to say, you know what, we can literally take the market over by dropping these consoles $50, and the Series S to $250 and the Series X to $449 with Game Pass, with the acquisition of ABK. Holy shit, dude! It's
Yes,
like
indeed.
it's crazy.
It is crazy. And just to say, I mean, it will be very smart for them to do that. I mean, right now, the old saying was during the PS4 and Xbox One gen is that, well, the Xbox One is underpowered and costs more than the PS4. How times have changed.
Yeah.
And now the PS5, which is less powerful than the Xbox Series X, is more expensive than it in certain markets, and particularly big markets at that. So I just want to say this because I want to make sure I got this brother's name right. His name is Peter P _85 on Twitter. It just goes by Peter under his regular name. So he made the great statements. Jez Corden had a tweet and he asked, not likely, and I'm not going to say this, but Xbox's big move would be to lower the price on Xbox Series X and S right now.
Yeah,
I agree 100%.
Totally agree.
I
said that.
Do you understand that this kind of press, and I say free press, Umbra, think about this, how damaging. And I want to say something to Everborn Saga's point. I had to bring this up because I want people to keep this in their thought process. This is for the chat as well. Coming off of what Sony said to the Brazilian government that made the way they became public, right? They were claiming, they were crying that, that they're going to be damaged. The market leader, then if you didn't know, they're number one in digital sales of everyone, Sony, right?
Right.
Just imagine now they're trying to claim the victim, and Microsoft is like Microsoft said what they said. How bad do you think now this looks to the regulators, right? Like, wait a second, Sony, you were talking about Microsoft. They're offering all this value, and you are the market leader and raising your prices?
Yeah, opens the door up for more acquisitions, doesn't it?
Oh, well, it certainly gets the ABK deal done.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you have the third place Microsoft charging, less than PlayStation 5, the number one market leader, I would think you all are doing just fine. If I don't see why it's a problem, why we can't just let them absorb ABK. I don't see the issue. Yeah, Sony is doing Microsoft's work for them. But I want to add this. So to Peter, he responded, he said a strong PR stance could still be achieved with the price hold, leaving it exactly where it's at. He says, the global economy, this is the statement that Microsoft will make. The global economy is hitting everyone hard, but we are resolute in our goal to make gaming accessible to all. And so we will not be increasing the price of the Series S or X.
Brilliant.
When everyone plays, we all win.
Oh,
I was like, oh, that was good.
Dude,
that was good.
You got to drop down there. Whoever wrote that,
let me send it to you.
Genius. Yeah. Microsoft should hire this immediately.
Yeah, brother has to get. He probably already got an offer right now, as far as I know. But yeah, I thought that was ingenious. I'm like, that's exactly what they should say. If they don't want to lower their price, say that and say, hey, we're not going to raise the price on you. We're going to keep it where it is. We understand that we're in a global recession. We understand that things are tight. So we want to keep this accessible for everybody. Keep it to that type of language. And I think Microsoft wins here, even if they don't lower the price.
You know what's interesting? You know where they could add to that? First of all, that's genius. That whoever that kid is, he just wrote his resume to get hired in Microsoft PR.
Absolutely.
But you know what would be the cherry on top of that delicious banana sundae that you just read? Is so today we are announcing the family plan to hit this country, and for as low as $5 a month, you will have access to over 100 games, and they only say 100, but we know it's over 500 day and date releases, and you'll be able to play on cloud, and they could really drive this home on, bro. I mean,
yeah, they could, Boom. I'm sorry, I had muted myself, but yeah, they absolutely could. There's so many ways they can go with this, and I think I've said it already. I think in the fall and the holiday season, they will lower the price of the Series S maybe by 50. They don't really have to, because I mean it's still super affordable now, but I think doing that when it's bundled up, like you pointed out many times with the Call of Duty situation, and they get that on the boxes, it's a wrap.
Yeah, it is. It
You
is.
know, so
This is bonkers. Let me let me bring in Crazy Lou and get your opinion on what Microsoft does. But let me catch up with some of the super chats. Been quite a few of them. AB drops in a very generous. Is that Antonio Brown? I don't know. But AB, thanks for being here, brother, and thank you for the generosity. He says, when I was small, some NES games were $69.99 at Toys R Us without tax. Different time now, more millions of players than ever can cover the cost. And I agree. And you know, to that point, when I worked for Funkoland many decades ago, they used to do things based on supply and demand. And I remember the N64 cartridges being as much as $115.
Whoa.
Yes, because Nintendo plays that game of supply and demand, and their company had to pay more to get them, so they charged more to the consumer. I remember that. This is definitely a little different considering the console's been out for nearly 2 years this November. It's shocking to me that they're raising the price. But Lonely Boy 221133 drops a very generous $20 super chat, and he says Xbox price drop the Series S to $199 for this holiday season. Power play. Phil, do it. Yeah, dude, I think you're onto something, and I think they could go, because if you remember, and I've mentioned this more times than not, a couple of years ago, Sony had one of their best Black Fridays in the history of the company. They dropped the special edition Spider-Man console with Spider-Man 2018 for $200, and it is a record that has yet to be broken. That was an incredibly smart play of Sony. I mean, a special edition console. It was the PlayStation 4 Slim, and it was $200. I mean, who could walk away from that? You're going in there to buy stuff for your cousin you haven't seen in years just because it's $200, right? I could see Microsoft doing something like that as well. We also have wow, we got a lot of super chats. Thank you for the help, Fuzzy. Andrew, no, we have, let's see. Mr. Joanna Dark drops an additional very generous $10 super chat and says, do you think the way Sony built the PS5 now has come back to haunt them with having to raise the price since they had to eat the cost to begin with to stay competitive with Xbox? This is the result. That's a great question, dude, and it could very well be that. But you know what's a little bothersome for me is that they just had their financials, their quarterlies, and they announced that they're making profits on the PlayStation 5. That's why this is really bad look for Sony. They have announced that they're making profits, and they're still raising the price by $50. Everyone is just going to be like, no, that's just corporate greed, man. That's not a good look. Andrew Cullian, good friend of the program, drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, I believe if Xbox prices didn't leak early, Sony would have launched at $600. You know, it's funny. That's a possibility. And they would have been up Schitt's Creek for sure. Eternal Shaddai drops a very generous. Thank you, brother. That's the second $20 super chat in as many days. Thank you for the generosity. He says, I believe that increase is due to the fact that they know people will buy the PS5 no matter what. It's also it is also, remember, Microsoft paid for chip priorities that makes for Sony's consoles backed up. Sony wants to gain what they lost. I mean, that's definitely there's a lot of truths in what he had to say there. Ape 2020 drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, PlayStation fans claiming quality games, but the consensus for 2022 is Elden Ring is best. I mean, look, I'll say this. You can't argue that Sony did not really. I mean, look, Horizon at the end of the day, with all its fixes, is a solid game. I'm finding it very hard to get back into, because I would have beat it. I loved Horizon Zero Dawn. I just don't love Forbidden West as much. I don't know why it is. Now, Gran Turismo came out, and obviously, you know, Fuzzy made multiple videos on how they've raked people over the coals with their microtransactions. And there's something to be said about a $70 reboot of a remake, right? So you can argue that. And God of War is probably going to be the outlier. That's going to probably be the best of the bunch when that releases this year. And at the end of the year, they're going to have a solid release list. You can't argue that. They're going to have 4 first-party games versus Microsoft, but there is something to be said, ladies and gentlemen, how Microsoft in this country continues to outdo the PlayStation 5 when they don't have any quote-unquote bangers, as the kids say. In fact, this year is probably the worst year in Xbox history, and they're still making strides. It's bonkers.
It's crazy.
It really is bonkers. But I think that at the end of the day, it is in fact, Umbra, Game Pass and the games that they're getting. And like I said, like one of the games that still shocks me that's coming, because it seems like PlayStation would have locked this up. And I don't know who in the marketing team. It could have been Sarah Bond. Lies of P is a monster.
It is.
Monster get. But Crazy Lou, what does Xbox do to Sony? And again, I say that, what do they do to Sony? Because if the shoe was on the other foot, ladies and gentlemen, Sony would go for the juggler. We know that they would go for the juggler.
Yep,
what does Xbox do?
Oh man, like what Umbra was saying, what I would do, and I said it earlier, I would decrease price, right? I would, like I said, like what Umbra said earlier, what the person said, decrease the price $50 less on the Series S and Series X. That's a big, powerful move right there.
Yeah.
And also, not only that, look at that catalog that's going to come in 2023, 2024, 2025. And just by talking about that catalog that is coming to Game Pass, I mean, I want to just mention a couple of them of 2023. We got Atomic Heart, we got Starfield, we got Redfall, we got Forza Motorsport, Stalker 2, and Lies of P, which was announced that is coming to Game Pass. Just by that little catalog, you know, that they just talked a little bit in Game Pass. Just with that and a decrease of price, Sony's gonna get it rough right there. I mean, like I said, that increase is insane. I would have not have announced it. You know what I would have done if it was Sony? I would have announced a slim console, or would have announced a what's it called, the PS5 Pro, and do the increase right there. But right now, you're not in a good spot, because if I was Microsoft, I would do exactly that and just shut you down with that right then and there. Decrease the price $50 less and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, that's a great point. But like I said, Umbro, thanks for bringing that up, brother, because I didn't even see that tweet. That's as perfect as a response you can get, because you know they can easily say, they don't have to. Well, listen, we understand that pricing is, so we're not going to increase our price. I would imagine that we are going to get a response from Microsoft. I think they absolutely have to. I think that if they don't, it's a missed golden opportunity. It's like literally sitting there on the platter. Take me, please, and I won't call the police. It's like crazy, dude. Like I don't believe it. Let me catch up some of the super chats. Sith Lord, good friend, generous friend of the program, drops a $2 super chat and says, upping the price on a system and PlayStation Plus. Sorry, no thanks. Yeah, they are raising their prices in September, folks. If you didn't know, that's more salt on the wind. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well, no. You're kidding with that, right? No, that can't
I'm pretty sure that someone sent it in my DM. I didn't get a chance to read it. I don't know how old it is or it's not, but I think there was some sort of a price increase. Maybe. Don't quote me on it. I have to read. I'm just saying, because I had like 15 DMs. Gameonomics drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, UK competition watchdogs, Xbox and Activision merger inquiry could be expanded. VGC new article just came out. Yeah, I mean, listen, they could ask for more. It's possible, but again, things like this put Sony in a bad light and puts Microsoft. You know, like I said, I have a feeling that this deal gets done by this year, but we will see. Louis Augustus drops a very generous $5 super chat, and since launch, he says this: since launch, the PlayStation 5 in Japan has gone from 49,980 yen to 60,580 yen, a 21% increase, and it's in second place. And its second price increase since launch in Japan. Just nuts. Oh yeah, I didn't even know that, dude. Thank you for that. That's crazy. Okay, so Fuzzy, let's get your opinion on this. Oh no, hold on. We got another super chat come in from, let's see, Jacob Novik drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, my idea: drop the Series X price to from $2.99 to $3.99 for 1 week, only to see what happens. Also, you missed my first super chat of $5. Let me see what
I apologize, Jacob. I could not find it. I do apologize.
let me look on YouTube. I'll come back to you. But listen, let's get your opinion on this. How does Microsoft respond, Fuzzy? How do they respond? Should they respond? And if they don't, like myself, do you consider this a missed golden opportunity?
I keep on having flashbacks of this is how you share a game. They need one of those moments.
Absolutely.
I agree with what a lot of everyone on this panel has said as far as they need to consider doing like a price drop, or even if they just say that we're going to hold the price firm because we can absorb that cost, and we're trying our best to keep pricing reasonable while you're looking for entertainment in video games. Now, I know there's an article floating around as far as the price hike in India as far as Xbox, and I think a lot of that is like exchange rate stuff more so than
that's not Microsoft increasing the price, right?
So, but outside of that, I think their biggest thing, like I like the idea of announcing that family plan, like you said. Now would be the opportune time. Even I know it's in beta right now. If they have most of the bells and whistles kind of figured out, at least put it out there in the public now. Or if you're going to do some sort of bundle for the holidays, and you're going to have where, the console's going to let's say it remains the same price, but it gives you 6 months or a year of Game Pass or something bundled with it. Talk about it now. Now's the time. Don't sit on your laurels. Don't be Mr. Nice Guy, kumbaya.
Go for the jugular. Yes,
because they're going to go. They would go for the jugular if it was if the shoe was on the other foot. If Xbox had to raise their price, Sony would be all about, we believe in gaming for everyone, just kind of like what the other guy said. But it would be them saying, hey, come here where quality is at the same price or whatever the type of thing is. But yeah, Xbox definitely should either point out that they're going to hold the same on pricing, or that they're going to do a price reduction, or that they may bundle in a game or a subscription for like 3 months, 6 months, or however long, and capitalize on this. Because hey, it's a competition at the end of the day, and they're looking to grow Game Pass, and they're looking to keep the shareholders happy over at Microsoft. So yeah, why not jump on it?
Can I say something real quick? What happens
if jump in, brother? Absolutely.
What happens if they mention today, or probably mention not today during Gamescom, that Ubisoft Plus might join Game Pass? That would be another huge thing.
Yes, anything that adds additional value would definitely it'd be the opportune time to do it. Definitely.
Yes, sir.
You know what? Their PR team better be scrambling. This is like I said, there are certain first of all, I found the first 3 super chats that I missed, so I'm going to read them in a second. That's from Lord Metroid, Arlie, TSL, and Jacob Novick. I found them. I had to go into the YouTube settings to grab them because they didn't pop up on my feed for some reason. I'll get to those in a second, but I'm going to say this. I know for a fact, and I've said this before, and I've been told this by Larry Herb, right? Larry Herb, that's right. That people over at Redmond do listen to the show because it's positive, because there's usually no cursing, things of that nature, which is why I run the channel the way I run. Okay. And I'm very, very humbled by that fact, because this is still a small channel, ladies and gentlemen. I just crossed 11,000 subs. November 3rd makes 5 years on YouTube, and I'm an old man. Remember, I came into the game super, super late. This is a kid's game, right? It's hard to get into this business. It's hard to grow an audience. Somehow I was able to do it. So I'm incredibly and humbly grateful for that. But I'm going to say this, if anyone from Microsoft is listening, and you have Phil's email, or you have somebody's marketing email, you get, scramble the jets, because this is something that they should use to their advantage. After I was going to say shit, but I already said it. After the shit that Sony pulled with the Brazilian government, I'm sorry. Yep. I would be salivating right now, literally drooling out of my mouth because Sony has served themselves up on a platter. They have served themselves up to be cut up for Thanksgiving dinner.
2013 repeating itself again.
I'm sorry to say they should take this advantage to do one of two things, and everyone has said something, so I just want to reiterate that. Either drop the consoles $50 right now. Go and do a press blitz. Hey, listen, we know, being that the financial situation for many families is really rough right now. We want to take advantage of the fact that we can, and we are now announcing that we are lowering the introduction price of the Xbox Series X and S by $50, and that price is effective today. And what they can do is they can do this. They can go ham on this, and I'll get everyone's opinion on if they should do this. They could turn around and say, "Hey, listen, for a limited time, when you buy a new Xbox, we give you 90 days or 6 months of Xbox Game Pass, which includes this, and this for just joining the family." Do you know how it's going to be a fire sale? Even if they only gave a 90-day card, hey, 3 months of Xbox Game Pass on us. You get to play all of these games. I'm sorry. I would go for the juggler. That's just me, because it is business, and this is one of those opportunities very much similar to Bobby K reaching out to Xbox. Hey, do you want to buy us? Oh yeah, sure. We have billions just hanging out in the back over there. Hey Johnny, bring the truck around. We're gonna pay them. We're gonna pay them right now. So trust me. That's what I would do. Jacob Novick actually dropped the first $5 super chat and says, "Hi y'all. The PlayStation 5 here, where he's currently living, is $600 where he is, because every console always has $100+ in taxes. Holy crap! I have a PS5, but this is right. This is straight up stupid. Yeah, absolutely.
Here's insane. Here's $1,000 for a PS5, and the Xbox is close to it, a little bit closer to it. Yeah, $1,000 for a console here.
Yeah, that's crazy. Arlie TSL drops a very generous $10 super chat and says, "Best strategy for Microsoft with this price increase on the PlayStation 5 is to keep the series system's price unchanged, or even lower the X by $25 and the S by $50 to capitalize on gamers still on the fence." That's a strong point. And Lord Metroid drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, "This is not a good move by Sony at all." Indeed, it's not. It's just ridiculous. I don't understand this, man. Eternal Shaddai drops an additional $5 super chat. Thank you for the generosity there, brother. He says, "Fuzzy just brought something important. This increase, we might see Sony bundling up God of War with the system to get as many gamers in gamers' hands." That's a possibility. But what's interesting is when they added, at least from what I understand, tell me if I'm wrong, Fuzzy, when they added Horizon Zero Dawn, they weren't giving it for free. Those systems were $50 more, right?
I think some of them did have, like, the bundle systems did go up slightly in price. I know that there's definitely a price hike on the ones where it's like Elden Ring, Gran Turismo 7, and Forbidden West all bundled in. So those are like $770 or something like that. Conversion US, I think. So it's almost like they're doing a GameStop bundle. But I think the one where it was just a one pack in, I think some of those, the early ones, were like at the same price. But no, I think they are now adjusted to accommodate what a $70 game would be added to it.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing more that we can say other than I think we've beaten this to death. To be honest with you, I'm happy that I had a show planned. I would have done an impromptu show anyway. This show is great because I actually had not only the scheduled guest as Infinite Umbra, but we also had Fuzzy, we also had Crazy Lou jump in, and we also had BitCloud, who is a PlayStation dude, to come in and share his distaste with what is happening. So listen, folks, I want to thank the near 600 people here. I want to thank all the super chats that have come in. The generosity is just boom, mind blowing. And I promise you that Mrs. Boom and I are going to give back to the community. If you didn't know, we are giving away in the next 3 giveaways a total of $2,000 worth of digital prizes. The next 3 contests are as follows. You're going to have the annual Breakfast with Boom, where it's going to be my birthday, but you get the gifts, Boom's Birthday Bash. We just recently added last year, because she wanted to be a part of it and she wanted to give back to the community, Mrs. Boom's Birthday Bash, where she's has put away $500 for each one of those giveaways. One's in September, one's in November, and the big one is coming in for the Christmas holiday. We have the money put away. We are giving away $1,000 on a Breakfast with Boom. It's our annual Christmas with Mr. and Mrs. Boomstick, and that is $1,000 worth of digital giveaways. And we are acknowledging, even if you live outside the U.S., we will get you your prize. And we will pay all taxes, and we will pay all conversion fees, as well as denominational fees to like PayPal to get that money to you. We pick up all the tabs on that, and we make sure everyone gets their wins. And we're one of the few podcasts that actually do that. But let's get to the outros. And I got to thank someone that just dropped a super chat. Wow, very generous. $10 super chat from Bob Lapel. He says this: could the price hike on the PlayStation is made up for the loss of revenue for the Sony's other divisions? That's an interesting theory. Like I don't know exactly how much they lost, but that's something to be said for sure.
Somebody said that
40%.
they're increasing the price hike to take care of their lawsuit.
Oh my God, that's freaking hilarious. Yeah, well, they are being sued in the UK for £5 billion with a
£5 billion, yeah.
Which is
wow,
bonkers.
Good Lord.
Topaz Girl 170 drops a very generous $10 super chat. Well, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for the generosity. And they say this: if engagement is what matters to SIE, they don't think that the price hike will affect the future. And this is coming from affect the future of engagement, aka profits. I mean, that's a strong point. I mean, that's arrogant. I'm going to be honest with you. That's an arrogant Sony, which we do not want, because arrogant Sony is gonna say that, oh, you thought that $70 for games was too low. We're going to charge you $80 starting next month. I hope that doesn't happen. But Infinite Umbra, please, brother, sell your brand. Talk about your incredible podcast with Jedi Pete, Risk It for the Biscuit, and Doom Cutie, happening every Friday. That's right, folks. The Xbox Infinite podcast. Talk about it, brother. And more importantly, where can people reach out to you on social media?
Yes, you all can find me on the Xbox Infinite podcast. I say this all the time, but it's named after me. Risky won't admit to that, but it's the truth. Yeah, and you all can find us on Fridays at 8:00 Eastern. We promise to outlaw Mr. Bushido from the chat.
So nice, dude.
You can feel free to come through, and it's a safe space, a space away from him. Yes, and you all can come through. Also, of course, see me on Tuesdays, Boom, on your show with Xbox Factor. I'm proud to say that, brother. Thank you again for bringing me into the fold. And I know for a fact you all can find me under Infinite Umbra or Umbra Infinite on Twitter, and Super Havoc on Xbox. So if you guys are like-minded, well-mannered, decent folks, look me up, and sometimes we can game together. We have our game nights and such on Fridays and Saturdays. And J-Rock, who was in the chat a minute ago, he often hosts a Halo community night that we join.
I didn't even see him. I would have given him a shout out. J-Rock,
Yeah.
if you're still listening, brother, thank you for being here, bro. I definitely appreciate all of your Twitter posts. They are slanderous, but they are funny.
Always hilarious. And nobody can tell him that he's lying either, because he's always telling the truth. It's just
it's good
slanderous,
stuff.
that's all.
It's definitely good stuff, J-Rock. All right, well, listen, Umbra, thanks so much for being here, brother. Hopefully you had a good time. You obviously dropped some big knowledge bombs, and if you want to hear more of that, don't forget to add Xbox Infinite Podcast to your playlist and a hashtag BoomStick approved for sure. Crazy Lou Gaming, you're part of a really awesome podcast each and every week. The Xbox International podcast loves you to talk about that. Talk about who's on that podcast with you, where they could check that out, add to their weekly playlist, and more importantly, where can people reach out to you on social media?
Oh man, you guys can reach to me each and every single day at Twitter at Crazy Louis Gaming, where I say good morning and do all sorts of crazy funny stuff. That's what I do every single day and show love to the community. Also, you can find me at the Crazy Louis Gaming YouTube channel, 7 p.m. Xbox International each and every single Wednesday with my brothers Sour Blow and Silent Cypher, where we talk about what's going on around the world of gaming every single week. And Boom, thank you for having me on the show. It was loads and loads and loads of fun, man. Really appreciate the invite.
Well, we appreciate you being here, brother, and definitely go check out their podcast each and every week. Good stuff over there, good people over there, and definitely should add it to your weekly playlist without a doubt. Last and no way least, Fuzzy Belvedere, who's on several podcasts, specifically on Breakfast with Boom, which will be back this Friday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we're going to be talking about a lot of video game news. Do me a favor, brother. Tell everyone where they can check out your YouTube channel dedicated to, of course, the racing genre, but also where can people reach out to you on social media?
Oh, just want to start off by thanking you for having me on and this awesome panel here. Always love hearing your guys' thoughts, whether it be on Twitter or on other podcasts and such. It was awesome to be here with you guys. And thank you to everybody in the chat that came out to interact with us, and any of those that'll catch the show later on and everything. But for any of those that want to hear my endless ramblings about anything gaming, just follow me on Twitter, Fuzzy_Belvedere. You can also check out my YouTube if you happen to be into racing, whether it be Forza or Gran Turismo or Need for Speed, NASCAR, anything. Fuzzy_Belvedere. And yeah, definitely come back here tomorrow if you can, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Double Barrel Gaming's channel for Breakfast with Boom. Yeah, it's going to be a fun one, but man, It was awesome being here. Thank you so much.
Great to have you. And folks, listen, we just crossed 11,000 subscribers on last Breakfast with Boom. We are almost at 11. We crossed 11,050 yesterday, which is, I can't believe we got that many subs in a day. If you're new and you're finding the channel for the first time, please consider subscribing. Mrs. Boomstick and I, our goal is to try and hit 12K by the end of the year, and we still have 4 months to the left of the year. We could get close. I would love to surpass it because, again, earlier this year in January on the Iron Lords podcast, we hit 10K, and just last week we hit 11. Would love to add 12 to the checkmark list of what we've done this year. And of course, I want to say a big thank you for everyone tuning in and continuing to support Double Barrel Gaming. And of course, I'm going to close out the show, folks, with something that's important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of X Vlog Live.